So welcome back, and this is the second part of this particular course: websites and domain hosting, and we'll be focusing mainly on the hosting. If you want to know more about the domain, website domain, you can check out my previous video on the part one of this video. Selecting the right host is crucial for your web performance, security, and overall success. So here we are going to look at some of the factors you need to consider when choosing hosting you want to buy, because there are a lot of options. We are going to look at some of the factors first before you choose a particular hosting. Look at reliability and uptime. Reliability is always stated, and uptime, you always have something like 99.99% uptime. What it means is that the website has the ability to be online at least 99.99% reliability. That's almost 100. So uptime is the amount of time your website needs to stay online. So there are some service providers that you buy domain. Once their server is down, it could be, if you are having an e-commerce website, it could be that that was the particular minute you would have had a client that will buy all of your products. But just because the client visited your website and your service provider had a server down time, so the client was not able to access the website. The website would just be displaying website unreachable or something like that. So this is one of the factors you need to consider: reliability and uptime, how reliable the hosting service is. So the next option here is the performance and speed. So there are some hosting provider that provide fast server performance. For instance, there are some websites you visit and it takes time to load. So when you are choosing a hosting plan, look at what speed is allotted to that particular hosting plan. It's important for me to note here that when you want to buy hosting, there are different options. It's not like a particular service provider has just one option. There are different options based on the cost. So you also consider what purpose the website is, what's the amount, the number of users that are going to visit the website at a particular time, and so on. So these are the factors that will equally help you decide. So performance and speed is one of those factors you need to take into consideration. Another thing is scalability. So the website is growing. You may have more clients, more number of traffic. Does that particular server have the ability to accommodate a situation where you have increased traffic? Fine, there are some that can be okay at the start, but as you are going, does that server has the ability, or does that particular hosting plan have the ability to accommodate much traffic? We'll look at it practically as we move. So security features. Does that service hosting plan, does it have SSL, secured socket layer certificate, SSL certificate? That is what makes websites show secured or non-secured. I'm going to show that during the practical session. And is the SSL free? Those are things you need to also consider. Customer support and customer service. How is their customer support? Are they available 247? As a developer, anything can happen at any time to the website, and you need a service provider that will be available to answer you at any time. We have service providers, domain name and hosting service providers that are Nigerian based. We have those ones that are in outside international. So these are some of the things you need to consider when you are making a choice actually. So does it have an easy to use control panel? The service provider, does it have an easy to use control panel? We are going to see cPanel, what we call control panel, and it's a different topic on itself. So we're going to see it, and you now see how important it is if you are to start web development. So how simple is the control panel provided by that particular hosting service provider? You take that into consideration. Does it have regular backup plans? There are some you buy and you need to do manual backup, meaning if anything happens to your website when you did not do the manual backup, the files are gone. But there are some that also offer automatic backup, and they offer this backup, and they will tell you if your website gets to a particular file size, the backup is not it's not going to be backed up. The website will not be backed up. So you check out what's their backup plans, and also ensure that they offer automatic backup and easy restoration options. So how about domain management? What if you want to transfer out at any time? How simple is it for you to transfer out? How simple is it for you to create subdomain? How simple is it for you to register domain? Those are things you need to also find out before you make a choice. So does that particular hosting service provider, do they provide email hosting? You may need an email that is tied to your domain name. So does that service provider you want to buy from, does it have this email hosting plan? How reliable is it? The email hosting plan, how reliable it is, you need to find out. Then the bandwidth and the storage limit. This most at times happens to do with the particular plan you are buying, because most service provider they have different hosting plan. Ensure that the bandwidth is enough to accommodate the traffic that will be required on that website, that will be hitting the website. So and another important thing is the server location. Where is the server located? If you are patronizing a company that has server, let's assume has a server in Ukraine, anything can happen. The server location, the data center blown up, and you lose your files. Do they have backup locations anywhere? That's another thing you need to take into consideration. Then the costs. How much is this hosting plan? If you want to buy it from another service provider, how much is it? You compare this cost. And when you are comparing costs, you tie down to the services each of these service providers are providing. Then you can decide on which one to go for. Then if you happen to request for a refund, is it possible for you to get a refund from these service providers? You need to take that into consideration. Now, very important is reviews. What are the reviews like? What are their testimonials? What are people saying about this service provider? You can check it out. Technology has made it that today you can just go to their social media handles and see what others are saying about them. Then you would be able to make a decision on that. So it is quite important that before we dive deep into the practical aspects, we get to understand these basic requirements so that we'll not make mistakes after committing our money into buying this domain and hosting. And in the next lesson, I'm going to practically show you, I'll mention some of the domain name and hosting service providers. I'll mention the ones in Nigeria, I will mention some international ones, and we'll pick an example to go through the process of purchasing a domain and hosting. If you've not watched the previous lessons, find the link in the description of this video, and you would also want to subscribe so that you will not miss out in any of my upcoming videos.